Welcome in, everybody. Ready to dive deep today with Backyard Still Life. We're going to unpack all those layers of meaning in Bob Camblin's piece.
We've got a cool mix of sources for this one, yeah. Video from the artist himself, some art book analysis, even a bit from the book's forward.
A real puzzle box this time, right?
Yeah.
And what we want to figure out is what's this artwork saying about life, about how we see things, about reality itself.
Big questions, definitely a journey worth taking.
Totally. And right off the bat, that huge sphere in the middle, that's what grabbed me. See-through, all those hazy images inside,
Yeah.
made me think emptiness, like Zen stuff.
Interesting, yeah, but it's not your typical Enso circle, right? Those are all about emptiness, like super simplicity, the sphere, it's packed with detail.
Exactly. It's like Camblin's messing with that whole emptiness idea. How can something be empty and full at the same time?
That's the heart of Zen right there. Emptiness, it ain't nothingness, it's more like potential, pure potential. Think of a seed, tiny thing, but inside. A whole tree's waiting.
So the sphere is not just empty space, it's holding the whole cycle of existence. Birth, growth, everything, all packed in.
Nailed it. And look closer. See those smaller orbs? All around the big one, like little planets orbiting. These show up in another Camblin piece too, Eternal Dance. So it's a thing for him.
Makes you wonder, if he's using these orbs on purpose, maybe they tie Backyard Still Life and Eternal Dance together, somehow, thematically. Could they be, like, souls moving through different realities?
Could be. The book describes them as luminous nodes that bind diverse realities together, so there's definitely an interconnectedness vibe going on.
And talking about interconnectedness, that book forward, it mentions the I Ching, right?
Yeah.
Always changing, always transforming, makes those orbs feel like they represent that constant flux, always in motion.
If everything I is connected and changing all the time, like the I Ching says, makes you wonder what reality even is. Is anything actually fixed, or are we just seeing tiny bits of a much bigger picture?
Mind-blowing stuff. So we got this mystical sphere, it's showing us the cycles of life. We got these interconnected orbs representing constant change. But the name of the painting, Backyard Still Life. It's like he's putting the ordinary right next to the extraordinary.
Yeah, that's sharp. By sticking this mystical scene in a plain old backyard, Camblin's messing with what we expect from a still life, right?
Totally. Makes you wonder, is the mystical closer than we think? Or is everyday life more mysterious than we realize?
It's like those artists, Leonore Carrington, Audubon Redden. They blended real and fantasy, too. Carrington with those dreamlike scenes, Radin with his floating spheres, all symbolic.
It's like they're saying, look at the world differently.
Yeah.
And Camblin's doing something interesting with the Venita's still life idea, right?
Right, Vanitas, it's all about death. Skulls, clocks, wilted flowers, reminding you life's short.
But Backyard Still Life doesn't feel that way.
Instead of death being the end, it feels like continuation. Even in death, the cycle keeps spinning.
Like death's just another stage, not the final stop. Oh, and I noticed something at the bottom, the words backyard and still life. They're all broken up, like they're fading away.
Yeah, that's got to be about meaning itself, right? Is meaning something solid, or does it change just like, well, everything else, like the I Ching says about reality?
Makes you think, what if the meaning of our lives, just like those words, it ain't set. Maybe we make it up as we go.
And that brings us back to Zen, to just seeing. It means looking without judging, without trying to force things into categories.
So we shouldn't try to force one meaning onto Backyard Still Life. We should just let it be whatever it is to us, right?
Exactly. Let the colors, the shapes just wash over you. Let the art do its thing, make you think your own thoughts. There's no right answer.
That's so powerful. Backyard Still Life is like a mirror, showing each of us our own experiences, our own way of seeing the world.
And just like things get distorted in a curved mirror, what we see is always shaped by where we are in life, physically and, mentally.
Speaking of how we see things, that artist video, he said something like, the orb's reflection distorts things, like bending reality, to remind us that how we see things is always changing based on where we stand.
Hits hard, doesn't it? We never see things perfectly objectively. Our experiences, what we believe, it all colors how we see the world.
And that shapes how we understand everything, even something as simple as a still life in a backyard.
It's like saying, hey, there's no one truth. Reality's got all these sides, and we each get our own little glimpse.
And yet, even though we all see things differently, we're all connected to this bigger reality, like those orbs around the main one.
Beautiful, isn't it? That mix of the personal and the universal, all reflected in this little backyard scene.
I love that. Now, I can't help but notice those two faces on either side of the sphere. One's all dark and shadowy, the other's light and clear. They're almost like mirror images, but with this stark contrast.
In the video, the artist said they represent the two sides in existence: birth and death, being there and not being there.
It's like they embody the duality of life, yin and yang, light and dark. All that makes up the whole thing.
And see how they're both looking at the sphere, like they're both thinking about the same mysteries.
Even though they represent opposites, they're both drawn to this central point of unity.
And that reflection, like the video says, it goes deeper than just us. It hints at this universal cycle that keeps happening, connecting everything.
The sphere becomes like a miniature universe then, right? Reflecting not just our own little journeys, but the whole shebang.
And within that whole shebang, there's this constant back and forth between movement and stillness, between the things we see and the forces we don't, all shaping our experience.
Which makes me think of the I Ching again, and those hexagrams in the book. Hexagram 61, Inner Truth. That one really got to me.
That's a good one, yeah. Clarity through reflection, sincerity. Just like the orb acts like a mirror, distorting things, but also revealing deeper truths about ourselves and the world.
Like when we look inward and are honest with ourselves, we see things more clearly.
And there's hexagram 29, too, the abysmal water. It's about time always flowing, the depths of the unknown.
Like you can't step in the same river twice.
Yeah.
Right? The river's always changing, just like time in the universe.
Exactly. And water reflects the world while it's flowing and changing. Just like that, the sphere in backyard still life captures a moment, but it's also always in motion.
A beautiful paradox. Capturing a moment that's already gone, reflecting someone that never stays the same.
And the artist said the painting catches the moment before naming, that space where things just exist before we try to label them and put them in boxes.
Like it's saying, let go of your labels and just experience the world as it is.
And in that pure experience, like the artist said, we find that everything's connected. He said the orb contains 10,000 things. That means everything that exists yet remains untethered to a single form.
Wow, that's deep. Like saying everything's part of this huge tapestry, even though each thread is unique and always changing.
And the way we try to understand this tapestry is through the stories we tell ourselves, the narratives we make to give our lives meaning.
But those stories are never complete, right? Like the artist said, they're limited by how we see things, our memories, and the fact that nothing lasts forever.
Like we're trying to put together a puzzle with missing pieces, and the picture keeps changing on us. So how do we find meaning when everything's fluid and connected? When how we see things is always shifting and our stories are never finished?
That's the big question, isn't it? Maybe the answer, if backyard still life is any indication, is to be okay with not knowing everything. Letting go of the need to have all the answers.
It's like the paintings whispering to us, stop trying so hard to figure it all out. Just be here with the mystery.
Exactly. Those distorted reflections in the orb remind us that what we think we see is only a tiny part of the bigger picture. To really understand, we got to accept that we don't know everything.
It's about being okay with not knowing, with the gaps in our knowledge and the limits of how we see things.
And in those gaps, in that not knowing, that's where we can grow, change, find new ways of seeing and understanding.
It's like an invitation to step outside what we're comfortable with, to question what we think we know, to be open to new possibilities.
And maybe by doing that, we'll find the meaning we've been searching for was inside us all along.
It's about trusting the journey, even when we don't know where it's leading.
Yeah, a journey that backyard still life really kind of pushes us towards, right? One of constant change, always transforming, like that I Ching idea. Not a static still life at all, huh? More like this crazy dance that never stops.
And in that dance, you see creation and destruction, birth and growth and decay and death. It's all woven together right into the fabric of everything.
It's like that sphere isn't just reflected those cycles, it's actually living them.
For sure, it's holding those experiences, but it's also a part of them. Camblin saying even just observe and reflect, and that's part of this whole crazy dance.
Makes me think of something he said in the video, something like, the challenge is to really look and find what's already there. Not force your own idea on it.
So true, right? He wants us to come at life and art with curiosity, with openness. Let go of what we think we know and just see what we find.
So instead of making the world fit our meaning, we got to try and see the meaning that's already there.
It's like reading a book versus writing one.
Oh.
Yeah. When you read, you're following the author's story. When you write, you're making your own.
And both are cool, but with backyard still life, Camblin wants us to be the reader. to just observe and appreciate the story that's already happening.
And that story, like we've been talking about, it's about how everything's connected, how nothing stays the same, how reality is always in flux. It's a story that wants us to be more aware, to embrace the mystery, find beauty in the fact that nothing lasts forever.
It's a story that says we're part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And in that connection, that's where we find meaning, but also belonging. Like we're part of something truly incredible.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into backyard still life, I want to leave everyone with one last thought to chew on.
Something to think about, carry with you as you go through life.
If that sphere's a mirror, showing us the whole cycle of existence, what do you see reflected back when you look at your own life?
What kind of patterns do you see? How have you changed? And how can you use that flow, that interconnectedness, to live a better life, a life with more meaning?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into backyard still life. Until next time, keep looking closely, keep asking questions, keep exploring the mysteries all around us.
And remember, the best truths, they often come from the questions, not the answers.
And as we, keep thinking about all these mysteries, it's important to remember we're not just watching this happen, we're in the middle of it, this whole dance of existence.
We're always shaping the world and being shaped by it, yeah.
The backyard still life, it really drives that point home, doesn't it? It's like, look deeper, question what you think, embrace that everything's connected and always changing.
Camblin wants us to see things in a whole new way, a way where the everyday becomes extraordinary.
And find meaning and beauty in the most unexpected spots. Could be right in your own backyard, even.
So, as you go about your day, take a second to really see what's around you. Look for those connections, the transformations, those little bits of magic that are easy to miss.
And this deep dive, it's just the beginning. Keep discovering, keep asking questions, keep digging for those deeper truths that are hidden everywhere.
Yeah, those deeper truths, they're often right there under the surface waiting to be found.
Thanks again for joining us on this deep dive into backyard still life. Until next time, may your journey be full of wonder and insight.